On Monday, I addressed all of my concerns about Michigan in the aftermath of the loss to Ohio State. Now it's your turn. You guys have a bunch of questions, so we're going to get to them, not all of them, on this mailbag. Lockdown Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Tuesday. Not really sure why I abbreviated the intro the way I just did. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports network anywhere in America today. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. Thank you for making us your first listen, and thank you to all of our everydayers out there. We very much appreciate it. It's the Michigan Mailbag today. We're not going to get to all of the questions. There were 117 replies today. To all the Ohio State fans that decided to use it as an opportunity to troll, I hope it was worth it. You got blocked. There were a couple respectful ones who we actually included. I thought they had insightful questions, so I included them in the Blue Crew. But a lot of your questions did not make it because either they were the same or it was just a struggle session. And that's fine. You just wanted to voice your angst, I guess you could say, your melancholy, which I understand. I don't feel that way personally, but y'all who watch and listen know kind of how I feel about things in general. All right, so let's get to our leaders and best, started with James Crudup at James Crudup 6. Seems like the rumors about changing the game plan are true. I would safely assume that this isn't what Chip Lindsey signed up for. Do you think Sherrone Moore is capable and would actually back off and let Chip do what he brought him here to do? If the answer is anything but a resounding yes, would it be time to have some tough conversations about Moore? Michigan is averaging something like 12 points per game against ranked teams, and the games have been largely uncompetitive. That is unacceptable. I fully agree. And it does seem like, yes, in the bigger games, I'll defer to Chris Ballas had a piece, where he said overheard outside the locker room was a player saying something like, what was the point of all that practice if we're not even going to run those plays? And obviously, like, I was fine with them running the football. Let me be clear. I was actually of the mindset in the first half, run the football as much as possible. However, that was with the caveat of run the football outside. And they stopped doing that because it was successful when they were running it outside. Again, it's the same weird paradigm that Ryan Day had last year, where they ran outside like twice, had success doing so, and then just ran up the middle into the strength of the defense. Almost feels like wrestling at that point, because it's like dead dove do not eat. I don't know what you expected, basically. But yes, something's got to give, because there is no world or reason why Michigan shouldn't be destroying the lesser teams on its schedule. I understand you can sit there and say, oh, Big Ten's hard. Yeah, sure. But to win by 5 against Purdue, not great. I understand it was an 11-point win against MSU. I think, was it at 31-20 or something like that? It should have been much worse for the Spartans. And the schedule gets a bit harder next year with more tough road games at Ohio State, at Oregon. Penn State's on the schedule. Oklahoma's on the schedule. So, like, what are you doing here? You have to have something. And I got another question about some of these things here in a minute, here in the same segment. So we'll kind of expound upon that momentarily. Josh Barr at Jadicki, seems like the offense lacks much creativity, or is it just risk adverse when playing ranked teams? It feels like Moore is trying to force the old Harbaugh game plans when playing big opponents, and this isn't 21 through 23 anymore. How does he fix this? Being more loose, because yes, being in a shell is essentially what it is. And it's almost like, hey, I beat Penn State this way, so now I'm just going to try to beat every big team this way. And like, you want to see, and this is really kind of hearkening back, like 06 Notre Dame, like, right? Like everyone and their brother picked Notre Dame to win that game. Lloyd Carr's Michigan comes out high flying, getting all kinds of interceptions, throwing downfield, all of those things. I understand that was junior Chad Henne, junior Mario Manningham, junior Mike Hart. Whoops. If you're listening, I just almost knocked my energy drink all over myself. With that, I mean, yes, you got to figure something out because it's unacceptable, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you play to win the game and you win, wins and all that. But when it becomes like such a common denominator, and we've got 2 years worth of experience here, and then the Ohio State game, like if they would have won the Ohio State game that same way, you just sit there and say, okay, they're just Iowa. They're just old school Iowa. That's just what they do. But what they're doing right now is not that. It's not good. When you lose against the 3 ranked teams on your schedule, then you can safely say, okay, it's this isn't a good scenario. Because like Washington, I mean, if Washington would have like won out, then you kind of are like, okay, that feels a little bit better. That's a signature win. But they lost at Wisconsin. So really, it's like you beat all the teams that you were supposed to and you lost to the teams you were supposed to. And that feels very much like 2017 Michigan, essentially. And that's not really a good place to be. And the problem is it's 2 years straight of that. My brother, Metal Michael Wolf at MWolf21. How would you rate this team's discipline, killer instinct, and attention to detail? I think you know the answer to that. It's basically failing grades all across the board. Discipline might get like a C, but and depending on how you want to use that term, obviously against Ohio State, I don't think it was great. But the Jay Sean Barham headbutt, some missed assignments, getting out of obviously it was a 0, not just like an F, but a 0 against USC. Which was, I think, the worst of them all. But I don't know, man. It's just all of the above, not great. Killer instinct, I've been talking on this show. That's a 0. There's no killer instinct. Attention to detail. It just does not feel like the Harbaugh teams, especially the 3 years, it felt like those teams aren't going to beat themselves. This team feels like it can beat itself pretty easily. So that's not great. Jonathan Joseph at JJoseph2156. Why is our fan base the most doom and gloom fan base? I don't know if they're the most, but I mean, it's pretty high. I don't know. It's just kind of how I think it probably started with 2007. Maybe it's actually started with the, couple games before that. Kind of felt like once Bo died, everything kind of became doom and gloom. Because you had the Ohio State loss and then all the stuff moving forward from there. But I think in part it's because Michigan gets trolled a lot more too, as far as fans go, because you've got multiple rivals. It's like you don't know who to focus on. Now, there are times where MSU rivals are more in your mentions. There's times where Ohio State ones. Right now, it's like all Ohio State, but the MSU ones, for some reason, still are there. Not for me as much if I see them in other people's. And I think that kind of makes people a little bit more doom and gloom when things don't go well, because you want to see and feel like things are going well so that you just don't have to deal with all of the trolls, essentially. That's kind of how I would see it. And other schools usually don't have multiple. There are a few that do. Texas, Oklahoma, you would imagine some of those ones do. But Ohio State, Michigan State, they each have a singular focus, essentially, and it's Michigan. Finishing us out in segment 1, Spencer Whitmore at Spencer Whitmore. Felt like the Bama win in last year's bowl changed the way the feeling ended. I'm assuming you mean season ended. Is there a thing this team can do in the bowl to do the same? I'm feeling no, and it's time to just shut up and go back to work. Also appreciate your work this season. God bless. Thank you. I mean, if they're playing Texas and they beat Texas, I don't think it matters as much how the game goes. I mean, as long as it doesn't look like it's in a shell like this last game and, they score some touchdowns, the passing game is 250 yards. I don't know if you'll get that against Texas, but I mean, just saying, if it looks like it's competent and they win, and heck, I mean, if it looks like competent and they lose, kind of like the Penn State losses to USC in the past, right? In the bowl games where it's okay, this looks like a team that can really compete. I think that you'd feel fine. Now, I mean, people will still complain if they lose, rightfully so. But I think that if they look just more like they did in the Maryland game, but maybe it's a tighter game because Texas is a good team, then, I think maybe it ends the season on a higher note. And I know right now it maybe doesn't feel that way, but we'll be a month removed from everything. And I think that, big name program, proud program that was lobbying to be in the college football playoff. I think that I mean, again, I'm assuming it's Texas because that's just what everyone else is assuming. Then I think that would kind of change some of the calculus of it. All right, that's going to do it for us in segment 1. So we are going to get to the victor's valiant. We're going to do so here in just a moment. But before we do, the holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Suspiciously simple, by the way. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sales are here and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor in the meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking even easier. And the variety is underrated. Steaks, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. It's one of those gifts that truly fits anyone. Honestly, it's the kind of gift that brings people together and you don't need to guess anyone's size. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for additional $35 off, use the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, let's continue on here. We've got the Victor's Valiant coming up here. I gotta energize here. I just went for a run right before doing this, so it's kind of funny just because it's like the run thirst plus energy. Like I'm going to be bouncing off the walls after the show's over, basically. Okay, let's go to Voice of College Football's John Diadamo. Can Sherrone run things like Biff Poggi and allow Chip Lindsey to handle the offensive play calling 100% moving forward? I mean, you would hope, but I think he learned from Jim Harbaugh and that collaborative thing, right? I mean, any head coach is going to kind of be involved, right? Like none is ever going to be 100%, right? Like that's just not going to happen. Like Brian Hartline wasn't like making 100% of the calls for Ohio State either, right? Like that's just not how it works. But you would hope that Sherrone would seed things a little bit more than he has, because it looked a heck of a lot better with Biff Poggi running the show. And even though I have it on good authority that was Sherrone had basically said, hey, this is the game plan. We want Bryce to run more. We want this type of stuff to happen. I mean, you just saw it was such a comedically ridiculous shell. Like RPO is gone this time. Bootleg's not even really there. It's like everything that they worked towards all season and they did none of it. None of it. It's insane. It's insane. Again, I'm going off of memory. I haven't rewatched the game. Again, I'll rewatch it in like 3-4 years. It's not even that it's painful. It's just like, I don't really see why I'm going to rewatch this. This kind of how I feel about that. All right. Great Bambino X at Colossus O'Clout X. I'm typically an optimistic fan. I've been vocal in my belief in Sherrone. It's hard to pinpoint any real area of growth for this team in 2025, though. There were moments things looked to be trending up, but Saturday was a real gut shot. Give me some reasons for optimism in 2026. You get better at football by playing football, and there's a lot of youth, right? That offensive line should be a heck of a lot better. Every time I talk about like the offensive line, I kind of forget to mention some of those guys that you figure could be involved next year too. Andrew Babalola, Ty Haywood, right? Some of those guys. I mean, you have a logjam of guys that, or like those 3 redshirt freshmen with another year of strength and conditioning who should be bigger, faster, stronger, all that stuff, more cohesive. I think as long as I almost feel like you have to move Jake Guarnera back to center, for instance. Like I was saying like before, like transfer portal, go get a center. And I still think that's, if there's like an elite one out there, go try to get him. But you almost have to move him back to center because it's like, you've got too many guys vying for positions. You just feel like, okay, we got to figure something out. Recruiting class from last year will be a little bit more grown up. They've got a lot of guys in this new class that can help right away. So those are your reasons for optimism. But otherwise, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. They just got bullied in the trenches. I don't know how to respond to it. When you see that, that's supposed to be your calling card. To me, it's inexcusable, right? It would be like Ohio State. Their calling card is the aerial attack. and let's say they were the ones that had 65 yards passing and Michigan threw for 300 yards, you'd be like, what exactly is it that you do here? So, like the one thing Michigan's supposed to be good at, have the advantage against Ohio State, it was a disadvantage. That's not great. So I don't have a lot of reasons for optimism just yet. But again, it's early right now. So let's look at the transfer portal. Let's see what coaching changes are made, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll reassess, right? Because that can change things in a hurry. Adam Casel, if I know you won't share names of coaches, but are your thoughts in yesterday's episode on staff changes informed by conversations with those inside the program? No, it's just my thoughts same ones that you have, looking at, with my eyeballs and seeing like that guy's not pulling his weight. That guy's not pulling his weight. That guy hasn't pulled his weight in 2 years. That type of thing. Is it too early to see this offseason as a make it or break it for Moore's future? No. College football's changed. You don't have the luxury. It's like the NFL now, right? Like you got 3 years. Now, I don't love that because college is different, right? Like you don't get to sign guys to multi-year contracts. But I think so. He says next year feels like CFP or bust. I won't go that far. Although, yes, that would be a thing, but beat Ohio State. But I mean, again, that schedule's brutal. Like I just mentioned, the teams that are going to be on it. So if they miss it by a game, but beat Ohio State and Michigan State and generally look competitive, say they beat Oklahoma, but they lose it to Oregon, they lose to Penn State. I mean, that's hard to envision right now with what Penn State is, but you know what I mean? But beat the rivals, but they lose 2 more games. It's kind of hard for me to say for sure that it's CFP or bust next year, but I mean, it kind of is too. So, Brad G at Brad Go Blue 85 in 2 seasons has Moore shown you anything besides recruiting gives you any faith that he can be a top head coach in college football? This year, no. Last year, the fact that guys didn't lose faith in him. They continued to grind. They won those last 2 games. So it is college football. So it's what have you done for me lately more than anything. So that's unfortunate. But I mean, last year, yes, this year, a little bit less so. And you can sit there and point to the improvement, but I mean, they didn't face as many top teams as they did last year. So it kind of changes things. Like if they had the same schedule as last year, I mean, I think they probably have a similar record at this point. I'm not the one at William Cawthorne 9. Is Sherrone the right coach for this team? I ask because all the real games they've played this year, they were not competitive. And every game Sherrone has lost has been by double digits, or it seems like it. I mean, we just answered that, so there's that. Will this team check out for the bowl game, meaning they won't care? I doubt it. I think they'll care. Now, will they be competitive? Will they win? I don't know. We'll see. We didn't think they'd win last year, and they did. We thought we thought they'd get blown out by Ohio State. We thought they'd get blown out by Alabama, and they won both those games. So we'll see. All right, here's one of the questions we got 18 million times here. And did Hausman quit on his team? What I can say basically is I've heard conflicting messages, so I can't confirm nor can I deny. I've heard some things that have indicated that it sounds like that had been the case and then it wasn't the case. But I don't really know what's going on. And at the same time, I haven't been able to confirm anything. I've talked to some good sources, but I haven't been able to confirm anything. So I didn't get a chance to talk to some of the people I would normally talk to before the Ohio State game because the sidelines were insane. And also a lot of people are way more locked in than they might be in other games. So that's my answer to that. Edwin Simmons at Simmons_Edwin. Happy Tuesday, my brother in Christ. Sorry for the late question. It's my daughter Alex's 21st birthday. Happy birthday to Alex, by the way. Do we get Justice Haynes back? Do any seniors come back for a 5th year? I'm not sure offhand what 4th year seniors there are. Just offhand, I'm not really sure. A lot of the seniors I know are like 5th years, so they're gone. Haynes, I mean, he just signed up for a new NIL deal, so sounds like they're swinging for the fences. Josh Henschke, my colleague, is indicated that they've put together a package. We'll see if Haynes accepts it. I mean, at this point, it kind of sounds like it's up in the air. Coach Dave at Big Coup 82. Not really everyone is coaching and playing for their livelihoods next season. I don't know exactly what that means. The offense is absolutely trash if the O-line can't lean on people. Defense doesn't have the talent. Special teams with the laughing emoji. All things need to be fixed to a championship level in a off season. The end. Okay. I see. There should have been some punctuation after not really. Because I just read that as a whole thing. But okay. Pistons Famo at Pistons Famo. It seems to be clear Sherrone is not the guy. I understand the circumstances of 2024, but with clock management, developing players, evaluating talent in-house, game plan, etc., how can we feel confident with this staff moving forward? Recruiting is his only bright spot, in my opinion. I don't know. Right? Like you hope that they prove you wrong. I'm not necessarily particularly confident in this moment that they will. That he will. I don't know. I'm not saying he will or he won't. But I understand your concerns. Perry Mitchell at Perry Mitchell 08. What role did hubris play in this loss? And what role did Sherrone play in the offensive game plan? Seems like this offense runs the same thing we've seen in every big game under Sherrone, regardless of OC. Yeah, I mean, I do think Kirk Campbell had a big part of the offense. I don't think Sherrone was calling the offense last year. I think that was Kirk Campbell. I think and you know, no offense to Kirk, but the amount of stupid plays that were in, that was last year was very much a Kirk Campbell where you're like, what, you know, we haven't seen a lot of those of like, what is that? What are you doing? There's been a few, but not like every game there was something where you're like, why are you doing what you're doing? Right. But the hubris, yes, I think that Michigan thought they could just come in and run its stuff and be conservative and win, and didn't really think about like what beat Ohio State in 2021, which was partly like them running their stuff, but more it was like, you know, there was some misdirection. There were some special things. There were flea flickers. There were end arounds. There were things that caught Ohio State off guard. Michigan did nothing to try to even catch Ohio State off guard at all. It was just like, we're Michigan. You have to bow down. Like, it was like the roles were reversed, except for, I understand Michigan went in thinking like, we're the team that has won the last four, which, okay. But you have to still come into the game with a hunger as if that's not the case. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the situation that you just found yourself in, basically. This one, it's K-Lab 711. Do you know what happened to Ernest Hausman? Was it an injury or something disciplinary? God bless. It was, from what I've heard, it was neither. It's probably much closer to what the rumors are out there. Again, I haven't confirmed it, but what have you. The Rican Raider at Hamstand 87. Hi, Isaiah. Hope you're well. Final predictions on where Michigan's class ends up. Probably about 11th or 12th. I don't know that they're going to move up much more than where they're at. Also, I think Zuri needs to appear every day for good luck. I mean, good luck. Because as much as she used to like to come in here while I was in here, she likes to take up my seat on the couch when I'm in here now. So, which works out because there's just a lot more equipment in here than there was when we first changed this scenario. There's a lot more lights and cables and all that stuff, where that wasn't the case before. Finishing us up in segment 2, Jacob Chavaria at Chavaria. Game day was saying that even with a win over Ohio State, that Michigan most likely wouldn't make the playoffs. With that being said, do you finally agree with adopting an Indiana-like non-conference schedule? We will still play the big games like you want, but just in the playoffs. I mean, I guess. I mean, as long as you can get, I mean, even then you might not even play. You might end up playing SMU and Arizona State, right? I don't know. I would still rather I would still rather play the bigger teams. I would rather, because then if you can go and beat the bigger teams, like Ohio State played Texas to begin the season and they won. If you can beat the bigger teams, then you're in. If you lose to the bigger teams, then you aren't really where you want to be anyway. So I still stand by it. All right, we've got plenty more to come up here in just a moment. But before we do, the World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands. It makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Prices always include fees up front, which I love. No last second surprises at checkout. Alerts for teams and matches make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets with every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Method Man at Method Man 8. Good morning, my brother in Christ. I know you've said that you want to see an actual QB coach instead of Chip doing it. First on my list is Devin Gardner. If you can pull him away from broadcasting, who would be the top of your list? Okay, number one, Devin Wood. I mean, maybe Devin Wood, but I mean, I talked to Devin on Saturday, and he's like, I hate coaching. So I don't know that that's who you want. I love Devin. Love Devin a lot, but kind of feels like that probably isn't the person there. I don't know, because I don't know individual quarterback coaches like offhand. So I don't know. I can't really answer that. I envy those who kind of do have a better feeling about who's what, all over the place. But I can't sit there and be like, oh yeah, this guy is the best linebackers coach. This guy's the best, right? Like, I don't know Georgia's linebackers coach offhand because I don't cover Georgia. Nate at Nate Dog 4990. Michigan had a service academy level passing game the last 2 years. Even with personnel and staff changes, it looked the same. Donors are successful business people. If if a company had this type of trend over a 2-year period, the CEO would get the axe. So why is it quiet? I kind of disagree with you. They've had a service academy level passing game the last 2 years. In the big games this year, yeah, they did. But like outside of that, I mean, that it was okay. You can see where it should work. I mean, why is it okay? I mean, this isn't why is it quiet? It's you hope that there's self-evaluation going on, but I don't know. I'm surprised we haven't heard any rumblings of any changes, right? Like last year after the Ohio State game, it was a win and they fired Kirk Campbell. So you would hope maybe they're trying to line up their ducks in a row. Maybe something else is going on. I don't really know. Ethan Smotherman at eSmotherman or eSmotherman 67347. Do you think our offense is lacking creativity and efficiency because of Sherrone's involvement in the play calling, or because Chip Lindsey isn't what we hope for? At some point, we need to let Bryce sling it, even if he's making mistakes. I think it's probably the Sherrone involvement now. Again, I don't think that was necessarily the case early in the year. Like that, or I don't even think it was wrong early in the year. Right? Like, as we saw what it looks like when Bryce is just kind of slinging it and kind of isn't in it. Kind of just doesn't have that rhythm. Like, you wanted to kind of, I used to think in Oklahoma, get him just kind of settled in and stuff like that. Like, I don't think receivers were running wild in that game anyway. But like, obviously you get to Ohio State and it's like, what are you doing here? I think I'm more likely to put it on Sherrone than Chip Lindsey. Let me put it that way. Justin Rambron at J Rambron. Hey, Isaiah, hope all is going well. Could you give an estimate of the number of coaching changes? National Signing Day is tomorrow. How soon will things start to happen? Man, I don't know. I would have thought some things would happen by now. So I don't know. Aaron Handy at Aaron Handy. Isaiah, are you worried that Michigan is regressing despite the money that can be thrown to capture elite recruits? A little bit, but I think that when this youth gets a little older, if they're smart and at least get some coaches in there that can amp things up a little bit, I think that it can work out, honestly. So, I mean, I do think that they regressed this year a little bit. In some areas, they progressed in others. But when I say progressed in others, like the offense was worlds better than it was last year. Like, make no bones about that. Like, the offense was way better. I know people want to say it wasn't, and it wasn't. Certainly it wasn't against Ohio State. But it was better. And, but at the same time, you know, there are things that didn't work out as well against Ohio State. It was just a great barometer to tell you. What I saw was a team that was outplayed, outmuscled, and outclassed. I mean, I said that yesterday. Ohio State knows how to beat us for the next 20 years if we do not change. I also agree. Michigan 2025 at Michigan Fan 4180. Chances Bryce transfers to a more offensive / passing focused school. I mean, highly unlikely. Michigan's going to build around him, not the other way around. Ethan McClellan at Ethan McClellan 13. What must be true this offseason for Michigan to be a playoff team next year? They have to get bigger, stronger, faster up front. They've got to be more consistent up front. Like, consistency is the kind of the part of the big thing, because like you can see the signs of the offensive line and I mean even the defensive line, but now they're going to have to retool that. So like you're going to have to, I think, play to your potential, be more detail oriented up front on the offensive line. Probably need some transfers on the defensive front. Need some of those young guys like the Nate Marshalls of the world and David Pele-Peles to really come up this next year. You need some coaching changes to some different position groups. You need to get a bunch of wide receivers. I think that's pretty much the big thing. All right, the last few questions I'm giving to Buckeyes because they were respectful about this. And listen, I as much as a lot of them love to come at me and everything, like I don't hate y'all. Like, I just want y'all to be like normal, well-adjusted people instead of crazed lunatics that need to go back to your shanties, to quote Shooter McGavin. And I'm not talking about the ones here. I'm not talking about any of them that are just like actually want to talk ball. But the ones that want to scream cheating, and some of them that like message me in my DMs that I very well could just put them on blast, but don't, because they say some absolutely horrific things. Yeah, like those ones you can go by the wayside, but respectful questions. You want to know a little something about what's going on with Michigan? I'm fine to answer those. So Avery at 24 Buckeyes. Do you think next year is an important year for the young players like Marsh and Bryce, that if they don't see improvement, could there be a risk of players transferring out, or would Michigan make coaching changes to avoid that? That's kind of interesting, because if I was Michigan as an athletic department, yes, I would make the coaching changes. Those guys are getting paid more than their position coaches. And certainly, you know, like Bryce is probably making as much, if not more, than Sherrone. So yes, I would more so, especially because the future of the program hinges in so many ways on Bryce being successful. Because if you can't get him to be successful, like, good luck getting quarterbacks and wide receivers from here on in. Like, you're just going to be running backs and fullbacks for perpetuity here, and like in perpetuity rather. So I think Michigan should make coaching changes. Will they? I don't know. It's everything's bass-ackwards here. Also, who in the portal do you think Michigan will target? Some people asked about Nick Marsh. From everything I've seen, he's not really a target, and it's not because like Michigan could target him all they want. It just doesn't sound like he would come to Michigan. But I think they'll target some high caliber wide receivers. I mean, like, how much different does this season maybe look if they get Skylar Bell, or maybe they still, I mean, he's got the most receiving yards, I think, in the country. And he was on the verge of coming to Michigan. It was just all basically the typical, well, you can't come to Michigan for a semester and get your degree. Get a Michigan degree with one semester here type of stuff. Why he didn't come. But I definitely think defensive linemen, wide receivers. I'd love to see a big time tight end. But then again, Hogan Hansen could end up being that guy if he could get healthy. Hard to tell. Last question, Bucks by 90, T Descript OH. How come toughness was an issue with every top 25 team Michigan played? I would say because they've regressed mightily in so many ways. I think that some of it's youth on the offensive line. Defensive line, man, I just don't think those guys were good enough. Although it's weird because a lot of those players, they were, they did well against Alabama in that offensive line. So you have to think in part it's a mentality. It could be hubris on Michigan's end of, and it's a lack of development as well. So, all right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you again soon. Peace.